Well, hello and welcome everybody to the Academy of Cheese. My name is Robbie G, aka the Professor of Cheese, and we're so happy to have you with us today. Tonight we're going to be learning all about cooking a meal, a Thanksgiving meal, in this single pan here. Before I go any further, I'd like to bring out the star of the show. His name is Nate Gibson. He is. Say hi, Nate.
Hi, guys.
Nate's our resident chef. He was formerly with Juniper and Ivy in Little Italy, and now he's cheesemonger extraordinaire and chef of cheese and everything. And he's the guy whose brain we pick on all things recipes, salvaging old bits of cheese and charcuterie.
Oh yeah.
So today Nate's going to make a Thanksgiving meal, and he's going to do it all in this pan. And we'll get started with that in a moment. While Nate is cooking, everybody has their cheese plate.
Oh yeah.
Which will be our kind of appetizer.
Yeah, so kind of the whole thing is based off of what you would have left over from Thanksgiving. So a kind of fun way to recreate Thanksgiving leftovers 2.0. We all enjoy the sandwich. I mean, that's why the only reason I make Thanksgiving dinner is to have the sandwich the next day.
You make it for the sandwich?
I literally make it just for the sandwich. Like, I'll have like a peckish meal for Thanksgiving just to wait till like midnight when everyone's asleep to eat like 2 sandwiches. So instead of doing sandwiches, we figured why not try something a little different, and we're gonna make Thanksgiving lasagna. So all these cheeses are cheeses that you probably have left over on your cheese board. So we have Sharp Max.
Yeah, so we're going to run you through each of the cheeses. Before I do this, I should also mention, you can chat with us if you have questions. We do have somebody behind the scenes. If you want to say hi, Gina, it's Gina, to pull back the curtain. And so write in your questions, and she will feed them to us, and we will answer all your questions. But the cheese plate, and you said you're using these on the recipe?
Yeah, so we're going to use them in the recipe and for you to snack on as well.
Cool, so you'll try them 2 ways. This guy right here is the Scharfe Max, and this is an Alpine cow's milk cheese from Switzerland. It means sharp to the max, so it's a very strong, funky cheese. What's this, Nate? What's the jam?
That is a cranberry pear jam.
Cranberry pear jam.
Which we sell at Finissimo.
Yummers.
And then we did the Humboldt Fog.
Humboldt Fog is in the middle, and that's your soft goat cheese. From California. It's got the little rind on it. You can see it ripens from the outside in, so eat every last bit of that. It's going to be delish.
And then the last one's the Pecorino Toscano.
And this hard, dry one is the Pecorino Toscano. That's a sheep's milk cheese. It is from Tuscany in central Italy. So we've got cow, goat, sheep, a little bit of everything, 3 different textures here.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead, and I'm going to enjoy some of these unless you want some.
No. That's for you. This will tide you over. I can't have you filling up your belly too fast, you know? So
I'll tell you, I'm very excited. I am hungry today. I'm a hungry boy.
Yeah, so right where we have here is kind of I know everyone's house is a little bit different. Everyone has their own traditional side dishes to Thanksgiving. And this is kind of a fun thing where, like, whatever you want to put in this, you can put in this. This is just for fun. This is just for funsies. This is try to broaden your horizon, broaden your mind on what is a different alternative just to making a sandwich or a second plate microwaved or something like that. So we're going to make Thanksgiving lasagna. So each layer is going to be a different side dish. And then we also have the turkey in there. We have the gravy, so we're going to use the gravy, as some would say, as the gravy. And then we're going to do a couple other fun things mixed in. So first side dish, and all of you guys have pasta sheets. You have the mashed potatoes. This is the mixture of butternut squash and red curry squash. Sweet potato. Gravy. You also have turkey, cranberries, and then this is a gremolata that we're going to make. So it's actually stuffing it's my grandma's stuffing that we made it, and then kind of a fun thing was with the leftovers, and you can do this at home after your dinner, is you cut it up in cubes and just leave it in your oven. So especially if a gas oven, the pilot's always on. So it stays around like 150 degrees. It almost acts like a dehydrator. So you just put that in there, and it completely takes the moisture out of it. So, and like a very Italian thing on certain pastas is to make a gremolata, which is usually like cheese and lemon zest and herbs and everything like that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make some of that.
What's so funny?
It's just because I'm looking at it and I'm thinking Italian, and there's definitely like French's fried onions in there. So yeah, it's just kind of fun. All right, so I guess this is where we're gonna start. I grabbed, for you guys at home, you're gonna want to use either an 8x8 or something smaller. So I kind of made this so it would be like good for 2 people.
Or one Rob.
Or one hungry Rob. All right, so we got our plate. I kind of made it look like this, so they'd be like, oh, this is our leftover. So I've already, in all yours, added the cheese to everything. So we're going to pair the mashed potatoes with your Sharp Max. We're going to pair the butternut squash we actually added some ricotta cheese to that. So I put a little bit of ricotta cheese over here to show you, but there's ricotta cheese inside there. And inside the sweet potato, we use the Humboldt Fog. So now we're just gonna assemble everything. And you can, if you wanna do different layers, add some little personal spices and touches to it, feel free to do it. This is your meal. Get weird with it, like enjoy yourself. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put a little bit of gravy down. And the reason you wanna put gravy down or sauce down is so the bottom doesn't dry out, and also so that you cook that bottom sheet of pasta. So we went to like a local pasta maker in Little Italy, and they made us some pasta sheets. So
we should tell them who it was.
Ascenti. So if you're ever in Little Italy, go to Ascenti. That's where kind of all the restaurants, if they're not making their own, buy theirs. I know Mona Lisa buys their stuff from there. So,
by the way, I love how you said to get weird, play around, because a lot of people don't do that enough. They take a recipe like it's like a mathematical problem, and they have to do it exact.
It's that, and like I think also Thanksgiving is such a standard tradition of like there has to be this dish, and this dish there, and you're stressing out about it. So why not like at least just have fun while you can?
Well, don't forget the whole point is to have fun.
Oh, exactly.
We used to forget that growing up.
It's a holiday in which your whole job is to eat and sleep.
And then get up and eat again.
So what I'm kind of doing is I'm just taking the pan and I'm gonna measure out one of my pasta sheets and cut it. So I just cut it right on the bottom there. And in this case, they're actually pretty much even. So you can just cut the sheets in half. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this down, put the next one kind of overlapping it. So that way we have a nice even layer down there. And I don't know about you, but I like to start sturdy base. So I'm gonna add the ricotta to our butternut squash. And in this mixture, if you want any of the recipes to any of the mixtures I made you guys, please just email me at nate@venissimo.com and I'll give you the recipes. This one is a mixture of red curry squash, butternut squash, and all I do is roast it with apples and onions. And then I pureed it with apple cider, a little bit of sumac, cumin, and butter. So a little bit different, but it pretty much is going to taste exactly like a really nice butternut squash you've had a million times. I just use the term the restaurant people call a little bit of butter, a little bit of salt.
A pinch.
Just a scotch.
Scotch.
Chef Nate, is the cheese plate for snacking, or do they need to save some for the recipe?
Because I already added all the cheese, snack away. Your stuff's already mixed in.
That's to hold us over.
Yeah.
While we're drooling.
So I'm gonna put down this butternut squash, and if you can look, you want to do kind of thin layers. as much as you want to like really pack it in there, think about it. It's going to get hot. It's going to spread, and then you want it to rest a little bit, but it's still going to. You don't want those really thick layers. So as soon as you get it out, it's just going to be a mess. So that's layers done.
You did a ricotta. What was in the ricotta? Was there olive oil in it?
A little bit of olive oil in that. Yeah. So just a little bit of flavor packed into each and every bite.
Nice.
All right. So now we're going to add the next layer of pasta. All right. And then we're going to take our... You can have fun with this. So we're going to take our sweet potato. So all we did with this, and actually it's a really cool trick if you want to try it. If you take whole sweet potatoes, you want to take a fork and kind of punch them to aerate them a little bit. And all I did was I wrapped them in foil. As soon as I wrapped them in foil, I put them in the oven at about 400 degrees. But I took a pan just like this and filled it up with water and put it underneath it. So it sounds strange of like, why would you do that? That seems like the opposite of wanting to put them in an oven. The reason I did that, it actually steams the potatoes and roasts them at the same time without adding any moisture to the potato. If that makes any sense. So in essence, you're roasting the potato in the oven, but you're adding steam so it actually cooks evenly.
Is there a gadget that does that? I'm
sure
there's
an oven
or something.
Oh no, there's an oven called a combi oven.
Uh-huh.
It just means combination oven, so a combination steam and roast, and you can do kind of everything in that. So this is my way of doing a combi oven in a apartment in University Heights.
But you know why these tips are so great? Who wants to have a gadget for every little thing? I'm always throwing stuff away because I don't want the stuff. I'd rather have a tip like that.
I hear you. So I'm going to spice this up a little bit. I'm going to throw a couple of these raw cranberries in here. Just because, why not? Just a little burst of flavor inside the whole lasagna.
That is interesting to me.
Yeah. Fresh cranberries are great. As being from Massachusetts, the birthplace of all of this, I really like them. So we're actually going to sprinkle some of more of this Humboldt fog on top, because this is just going to be a treat.
That's a fun little combo there. You got like the tartness of the cranberries.
Oh,
and the goat's milk.
And like sweetness from the sweet potato. So I add a little bit of molasses to it. Again, I'm from New England, so we're molasses fans. I add a little bit of molasses to it, butter, brown sugar. That was it. And salt and pepper. So that's this layer. So what are we going to do? Shocking, friends. We're going to put another layer of pasta on top. All right. All right, next layer, mashed potatoes. So, I don't know about you, but mashed potatoes should be a little thick. I worked in restaurants and forever, and the whole point was to make them as thin as possible with still being thick. So it's like this awkward balance. So now I'm going to put this layer down.
And what cheese is in that? You say
So that cheese, and this one is the Sharp Max. So the Sharp Max, this batch, which is kind of fun about cheese, is like each batch is a little bit different. Sometimes it's more mellow, sometimes it's a little. I remember like when the first time I tried this, it almost tasted like. It actually reminded me of Thanksgiving because it tasted like creamed pearl onions. So when I grew up, like my grandma loved. Oh, it's not gonna work, but loved pearled onions. And that was like the one side dish as a kid. I was like, what is this lady doing? Like she just put out a plate of onions like a crazy person. And then as you get older, you're like, holy crap, why did I not take advantage of that? Yeah. So we're gonna do a couple sprinkles of this. And you guys can't smell this, but it is real pungent and real nice.
Nate, can you do raw onions or do they have to be cooked?
I would always advise doing cooked things because it's not gonna bake forever. So you're not gonna necessarily, you want to cook everything in here. I would like just lightly saute onions if you're gonna do it. If you want to do like a layer of again, you could do a layer of creamed onions. I almost thought about doing it myself. Instead, I use this cheese.
Yeah, and interesting. So the style of cheese is an Alpine style, and they tend to be very complex, and people get a lot of different flavor profiles on that. And one of them is onions or brothiness, and almost like meatiness too sometimes, or umami.
Yeah, they usually tend to lend themselves towards again, you said they're made to be melted in, especially with potato is a very traditional thing. So why not put them with mashed potatoes? So now we're gonna add Mr. Turkey. So, the biggest thing I've ever heard about everybody is oh my God, I made turkey this year and it was the driest thing possible. And I get it. It happens every year. I don't know how many times you go to someone's house and it's oh, thank you so much for making the turkey. This tastes like sawdust, and you try to be really polite about it. Tricks. So kind of my trick, and I'll tell you, is always brine your turkey a day ahead of time. So if you don't know what brining is when you make a salt solution with I usually do 10% salt. So what that means is when you weigh out or measure out your liquid, which usually is going to be water, 10% of that liquid, put 10% of salt into that to make a little saltwater solution. And then you just dunk the whole turkey in. So an easy cheat if you want to if you're only feeding yourself and maybe one other person, just buy a bone-in turkey breast. It's the biggest trick I'll give you. Buy a bone-in turkey breast. It's gonna be so much cheaper, one, and two, if it's only gonna be two people, it's enough for you to have that night and to make lasagna the next day. So grab that, brine it. If you're doing the whole turkey, brine the whole turkey. When you take it out that morning, let it air dry for a little bit. You can either just bake the whole thing, do your whole basting and everything like that. Or if you want to speed the process up into a 45-minute affair, what I do is I carve it like a chicken ahead of time. Pre-carve it while it's raw. Take the breast off, take the legs off, the wings off, and cook them all separately. So all you have to do is sear them in a cast iron pan and then toss them in the oven. They'll take 20 to 30 minutes, and they'll be the juiciest pieces of meat you'll have. So that's what I did with this. I made a boneless turkey breast for you guys, and I actually put it on a deli slicer at Benissimo and sliced it, and it came out still really moist and tender, and the cook time on it was 30 minutes. So I made enough for 10 of us to make lasagna in 30 minutes.
Our friend Carol agrees that brining is the way to go. All poultry, she does it. Yes?
You want to get real weird, Carol? Brine and pickle juice.
Oh,
pickle juice is a real fun one.
I bet Carol will do that.
That's a big southern thing. For fried chicken.
Oh, it smells so good.
For fried chicken, they'll brine their chicken in pickle juice, and it adds this nice tang to it. But we also learned last class, you can brine your turkey in whey.
Yeah.
So that'll add a whole other flavor. And if you're having ricotta in this anyways, there's a two birds, one stone situation.
Should we talk about what brining means for cheese too?
There's
a whole category of cheese called washed rind cheese or stinky cheese, and they are brined. They're basically washed in a brine. And as Nate said, the brine can be a salt water. That's the most basic kind of brine, but it could be whey in salt.
Yeah.
It could be beer. It could be wine. It can be spirits. You can do it with anything. And you basically wash the cheese during the aging process, and it changes the color on the rind to a pinkish reddish. If you're ever wondering the type of cheese that the French are known for, Epoisse, Munster, Limburger from Germany, those are all washed rind style cheeses, and they are originally washed in brine. But there's a lot of like derivations now.
Yeah. Just really adding the flavor to it.
Yeah.
Sealing in the flavor. So next move we're gonna do, I'm gonna put a little bit of gravy on top because you can't have mashed potato turkey without a little bit of gravy.
Oh, it's all gravy.
It's all gravy, baby. All right, I'm gonna do that, and then we're gonna add our last layer. So move this here just for a quick second. We're gonna cut the last sheet of pasta. And put that on top. And so far, I don't know about you, but this looks pretty darn good to me. We're gonna add that. I'm gonna just cover the top with a little bit of gravy. The reason I wanna do that is I wanna make sure there's enough moisture on top of this so that when I bake it, that top sheet's not just gonna get crusty and the rest of this and just burn. It's gonna get a nice little coat on it. It's gonna get cooked through and have a little bit of crunch to it as well. And then we gave you that pecorino toscano, so I'm gonna move this right over here. We're gonna take that pecorino and we're just gonna coat the top of this. So this is gonna melt on and give you that classic lasagna look.
Keep going.
And kind of disguise people. Yeah, I know. Say when. It's just gonna like, here's a quick disguise of like, hey, what did you make lasagna from again? You're not gonna know. And then all of a sudden you dig in and you see the mashed potatoes, you see the squash. I'm just gonna cover this in foil. The reason behind that, I don't want the cheese to get too crispy too fast. And then, that's fogged up right there. Kind of through the magic of television, because we don't have 2 hours or an hour and a half. We
Voila.
made one ahead of time. So when lasagna comes out,
Oh my.
when it comes out of the oven, you always want to let it rest. So
No touchy,
slap your
Rob.
hand
No
away.
touchy.
So, cool tricks you can do if you really want super tight layers is if you make this the day before, the night before, you can rest another pan on top, and what it'll do is compress to get all the air out of it, so it'll be nice and neat layers. The other thing is when it gets out like this, you can do the same thing. If you're not serving it right away, that way it will press everything down while it's still warm, and when you cut it, there's no air pockets. It's gonna be nice and even. That was just kind of a restaurant trick we used to do.
This is a thing of beauty, I have to say. This is gorgeous.
It's a labor of love, my friend.
So the restaurant trick, Nate, how long again would you press
So I would
it?
press it overnight, and then if you're gonna cook this, I would press it again overnight. And what that does is it makes it just shrink down in size a little bit, but it makes it completely uniform and like a solid brick. So that way the next day, if you wanted, you could cut this in perfect slices and then put them on a cookie sheet like that and heat them up with sauce on top and have everything individually plated. Or you can take those and wrap them up, put them in the freezer, so now you have individual portions to save for later. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do, I got this pan a little warm, so we're gonna work on our gremolata. So I'm doing a little different kind of variation of this. So if you're really, really Italian, please don't hate me. I know I'm butchering some of your classical dishes here, but we're having a little fun, you know? Is that what we're supposed to do? Learn from each other and progress?
Bring worlds together.
Yeah, right? One meal at a time.
It's fusion.
So I'm taking your kind of staple herbs that you'd find at Thanksgiving. So I have some sage, I have rosemary, and I have thyme. So all I'm gonna do is just cut these up nice and small. And I got a nice hot pan next to me. So I'm gonna take that.
Nate, why do you always heat the pan first before you put anything in it?
Always heat the pan first, that way you're not waiting for it. It's just time efficiency. Like,
But doesn't it cook differently if it's sitting there? Like,
Oh yeah, that's how you get it nice and clammy looking.
Yeah.
So if I do this, yeah, that's when you get that like nice not seared steak or like a not seared chicken, right? Yeah. So
Not good.
I'm gonna take these. I'm just gonna put these in the pan. It's nice and nice and dry, but you guys can't smell this. But there's natural oils in all of these, so it's coming out right now. And I'm also gonna take. I grabbed a blood orange. I'm gonna take a little bit of the blood orange, and you can smell that coming out too. Nice and bright.
Yeah. You can hear that sizzle. That's not a
Yeah.
special effect.
All right, and then do that. I'm gonna take our mixture of those you guys have, which is stuffing and French's fried onions. That was no joke. That was 100% accurate. I was talking to my coworker and I was like, "Hey, would it be crazy to make gremolata with French's onions and stuffing?" And they were like, "Hey, why not?"
Absolutely not.
So I have that in there. What I'm doing is kind of releasing the oils that are left in the stuffing and the onions, just to make them a little more crunchy because they were in the refrigerator a little bit. So you guys, I would definitely recommend doing the same. Or the other move you can do is at the last like couple minutes of baking this, just toss it right on top. That way it just warms up a little bit.
What about green beans, Nate? Would they make it mushy, or could you do green beans?
It depends on how thick your green bean mixture is. There's so much moisture in green beans. That was kind of what was a deterrent of me putting them in there, but you could give it a go. I would highly recommend it. Like, what would be great in there too, if you want to try, like roasted Brussels sprouts would be fantastic. Again, like cream pearled onions would be great. Scalloped potatoes, if you want to do a layer of those. You could honestly take stuffing and roll it with a rolling pin and turn it into either a layer itself or use it as a layer instead of using pasta dough too.
Oh yeah.
So, again, it's all up to how much fun you want to have with this. Like, I'm having a great time. I'm having a great time. Rob's having a great time. Gia's having a great time. The smells are great in here.
We have a question?
Smell-o-vision, we do. Again, first the one baking in the oven and when reheating. First, how long for the one in the oven?
So we cooked this for about 45 minutes at 375. What you want to look for is, and you can use your knife, is to make sure it goes through nice and cleanly. Because we're using fresh pasta dough and not using like the dried sheets or boiling and then using them. If you use the dry sheets, it's going to take longer. You want to make sure there's more moisture in here to cook the sheets. Because we're using these fresh pasta sheets, you don't need as much moisture to cook them. Just enough steam would do it. If you're using dried sheets, if you're using the boiled and fresh, you just want to do it until the cheese is melted, till it's bubbling hot. So that could be like 25 to 30 minutes. Dried sheets would probably be 45 to an hour, and this was about like 35, 40 minutes tops.
And then when reheating, if you do the press trick that you talked about the next day, how about that?
What I would do with that is I would do the same thing. I would say you could just do it, if you pressed it, I would take it out of here and just portion it. That way you know, easily know exactly how much you have. And then put it on a cookie sheet, and you can put a piece of foil down too if you'd like, or just put in a casserole sheet, put it down and put some gravy on top of it. Bake that in the oven at like 350, so do a little bit cooler than this. And then when you do that, cook it for like 20 minutes. All you're doing is reheating it. So don't think about it as you have to cook it because you're gonna get someone sick. Everything's cooked 3 times already, so you're fine. You're not gonna get anyone sick. Everyone's gonna be good. So this mixture right here, you can feel, like I can see it and I can feel it and smell it.
I want to smell some. Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah,
that is amazing.
So I'm just gonna turn this off. The pan's still hot, so it's gonna if you ever hear the term residual heat, that's what that means. So we're gonna do that. I'm also gonna take some of these cranberries and I'm gonna chop these up a little bit. Because most gremolatas, they have some sort of tartness to it or some sort of citrus. So most of the time it's lemon, but we're doing Thanksgiving, so I'm just gonna do fresh cranberries. If you can see, like fresh cranberries don't have a ton of moisture until you really cook them out. So if I'm just cutting these up, they're not gonna leach out very much. I just didn't want to put them in there right away. I want to wait to the end, so that way it wouldn't sog out my gremolata. So we can take these.
You didn't want it to be clammy.
No one likes a soggy bottom, Rob, you know? All right. And then I'm just going to give it another quick toss.
Another whiff. I'm like your Ryan Seacrest.
I know. All right. So, as far as plating this is going to be delicious. So, no one freak out here. I'm going to grab a plate for Robbie just so you guys can just have fun with this.
Do I need to be the guinea pig here?
I know. Actually, you want to open that thing? I did use this thing. Mm-hmm. Perfect. All right, so toss down. Here's a little restaurant trick for you too. Always put down a little bit of sauce down the bottom of the plate like this. Whatever you put on top is gonna melt this down even more. So if it's not even the hottest sauce ever, this thing's really hot, so it's gonna make it spread a little bit. And plus it always looks good, especially when like everyone pours sauce on top. When you get to the bottom bite, there's no sauce left. So,
A bed of gravy.
cool. I need a knife for this guy. So raw peas would probably be the rest of this. I don't know about you. I like the crunch. I like the
I
crunchy.
love the
Crunchy bit at the end.
Sometimes I I'll even put cheese just like right on the frying pan and just burn it and have like burnt cheese. It's delicious.
Oh, wait a second.
I can see layers of color there.
Yes.
Take
Always
two.
on TV.
Take two.
Oh.
There
Come on,
you
baby.
go. I know.
Oh yeah.
That was my poor cutting skills, guys.
All good.
Again, doesn't have to be perfect. There's that. Gravy's down. We can put a little more gravy on top just because I know Rob likes a little bit of gravy.
Big fan.
We're going to take our gremolata.
Oh,
That looks
this
awesome.
is what puts it over the top.
That way, you have a lot of soft textures here. Add a little bit of crunch to
Oh my
it.
gosh. Little texture.
Rob, do you want more cheese on top?
Yes. I mean,
So we're
what
going to add
kind
a
of
little
question is
more
that?
cheese on top. And
That is a work of art.
just because, why not? Let's just do a little, that's a little sad. Make a little, this goes against most of my training, but if you guys want to put a little bouquet down, you can. I'm just going to hold off on it. But that's it, man. So this is your Thanksgiving lasagna on one plate.
That is absolutely gorgeous.
Yes.
Can we dig into it?
Rob, I need you to dig into this. You are my guinea pig.
I need to get a bite with a little bit of everything.
Oh yeah.
Oh, is this gonna burn my mouth, Nate?
It's gonna be real hot. So does it taste like Thanksgiving?
Nate, you did it.
Oh Magoo, you've done it again.
I can so taste the herbs, texture. I mean, I needed another bite. I don't know if I got all the ingredients. This is incredible. I can see the colors in this bite, so.
Yeah, we want to use this clear guy so you guys can see all the layers in there. When you're doing it at home, use a clear guy. It usually makes the eyes pop a little bit, but yeah.
Any difference, Nate, in a clear cooking time?
No.
Clear versus metal? Nope.
No. If the only time it'll ever be a little different is to use a cast iron. It's just going to be a little bit hotter.
That is so good, and the turkey is moist,
Love it.
which is the key.
Not clammy.
You can taste a little bit of everything. I didn't get a cranberry. I want to try a bite with cranberry.
Oh, absolutely. Dig right in there, sir.
Carol says you have to save some for me.
Carol, for Gina or for Carol?
She's cooking hers as she goes.
All right. Well,
I have a bite.
This is kind of a fun alternative. Again, do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Make this yours. If you want to not put cranberry, if you want to do something else entirely, go for it. Like you want to use turkey sausage instead of turkey breast, do that too. But just another way to look at something.
Well, Nate, you've done it again, my friend. You have you've wowed us. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise and all your tricks with us. Thanks to Gina for manning the questions and the technical side of this. Thank you all for joining us. Gina, what's our next event?
Next event is Winer Wednesday.
Is it next Wednesday?
Next Wednesday, Vive la France, Beaujolais.
Okay. Next Wednesday, Beaujolais. Check out the website for details on that. But we look forward to continue doing these. Happy early Thanksgiving.
Absolutely. If you guys, again, if you need any questions, want recipes or whatever for Thanksgiving, feel free to email me at natevenissimo.com.
natevenissimo.com. Email the website. We'll forward them to Nate. But thanks either way.
Yeah. And sorry for the creepy mustache. I'm raising money for a good cause here, so it's good.
But thanks, everybody.
Good night.
Good night. Gobble, gobble. Take care.